So today we're going to learn how to get our character to walk left and right using Character Animator. So in order to do this, you'll need a profile that's a left profile view of your character. And what I did was went ahead and redrew the character Alice that was originally like this. And I just drew a side view, kind of redoing the legs and the feet so that they would be pointing to the side, and then the head as well. And I want to show you what this character, this side view actually consists of. And you can see there's a little bit of a different thing here because what used to be an Alice and there used to be no frontal view here. What I did is I put the entire character head and body into a front view so that when you see the front view, you'll see what we had before. But now I also have side view 1 and a side view 2, and really you only need to make the side view one of the side views, and then you're going to flip it in Photoshop. So what's in the side view? Well, in this case it's very simple. There's only a head, as you can kind of see here. I've only got a head created. I didn't bother taking apart the eyes, the blink, those kinds of things. Now you'll probably want that in a more complex character, but I wanted to go ahead and show you that this can be done simply, especially if the character is walking from place to place and then talking in the frontal view, which you already have. For the body group, I did deconstruct everything a little bit, so you'll kind of see if I turn off the coat, you'll see I have a back of coat element that kind of allows the legs to be in between the two things. The back arm will always be farthest back, as you can kind of see here, and then the arm that's in the front is always in front of everything. So the front arm is going to be on the most in front layer, and then the back arm is going to be the most in the back layer. So when it moves based on the legs, you'll see that. And obviously I have a back leg and I have a front leg. And you can see that these are not folders and there's no swappable things. This is a basic, just a basic character with a body and a single head layer. And then to create this character and to make the side view 2, all I did was went up to, selected the entire folder, jumped it, Command J, and then went ahead and went to transform, and then I flipped it across the horizontal, and that flipped that character across, and then I lined them up based on where the neck and the main body is. So when it moves left and right, it'll feel like it's just flipping around on that side. So that's what I did for the character. I'm going to delete this. And what you should then have is a frontal view, which is your original character. And this does have all the, the accoutrements that you had from before. And then you'll need a side view and another side view that goes the opposite direction. And that's what we've got for this character. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up. I'm not going to save anything because I didn't make any changes. And I'm going to go ahead and go into Character Animator, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this new side view character in so you can see how it gets rigged up. So to start with, we've got now something special. You'll notice that the front view, side view, and the other side view, all three of those have crowns. That's really important that they're all independent. Inside of each one of these should be a head and body group, as you can kind of see. So what we're going to be doing is rigging up the side views and the front views and the other side views. So there's a lot of rigging that's going to take place today. So we will need a behavior that's called a walk behavior. So let's go ahead and over here to our behaviors, pick Alice. And we're not picking this top view, we're picking Alice here. And we're going to go ahead and hit plus, and then we're going to select walk. Now, in order for the walk behavior to work, obviously it needs us to have views. And currently there are no views, as you can see, and we need some handles. In other words, we need to have all these things selected, and you can see there's nothing really except for the neck that's been done. So first off, how do you get a view? So here's a front view, and if we open up our tags, at the bottom of our little guy here, there is this head, and you can see it's already selected frontal. For our side view, let's go ahead and turn off our front view and see which side view it is. So we have side view 2. We know that this is this head, so we're going to pick our side 2, and then we're going to be picking this head. And then obviously side 1 is going to be this head. So now we have 3 views that the walk behavior can select from, left, right, and front. It's really important. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to start with the side view here. is we're going to select our head. Now our head and body are not independent, just like usual. So, and you can see that head has been correctly labeled here. But you'll notice that if you hit the body group, it's currently, just by clicking on it, you'll see that it is currently attached to auto. And what I want to do is guarantee that this body group here is attached to the side 1 group. Because I want, anytime this body moves or anything that happens with this body, I want it to be associated with this view. And so what I'm going to do is go to the attach to area, and I'm going to force this to be side 1. And I'm going to do that with side 2 as well. I'm going to go to the body group and attach that to side 2. Now the head group I'm going to leave as auto, but if I have any problems at all, I'm going to attach those to the appropriate groups as well, since then they're labeled correct, they're labeled the same. I'm going to do that with the front group as well. I'm going to go to the body and attach that to frontal view. Okay, so we've went ahead and made our bodies attached to the correct view. Let's go back into side 2 and let's get started mapping. Now we're going to go into our head group here, which is not independent, and we're going to create a neck and a head, a handle. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to select that as neck. Now the head is here, which is fine. We could actually, if we could bring that down, it would be great, but we're not going to be able to. So the head now has a neck area here. This neck is going to be really important when we walk because it looks for 3 things. It looks for the neck, the waist, and the left and right pelvis, or the left and right hips when it's walking. So it's really important that we have that neck correctly labeled. So the head group now has a neck. Now I'm going to go to the body group, and right here I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this body tag here, and I'm going to call this my waist as well. So it's the body or origin here, but it's also going to be the waist as well. And then what I'm going to do, which is a little different than we've done before, is I'm going to click here right about where the left and right hips are, and I'm going to label this as right hip and left hip. I'm going to put them together just for this puppet so that it's easy to see how this puppet's going to walk based on this, and if we need to make a change, we can always move it, and wherever we move this to, it's going to change the nature of how this character is walking. Okay, so I'm going to open up the body, go to the front arm, and we're going to do our typical mapping. So I'm going to probably fast forward this. I'm going to select my front arm, I'm going to turn off the coat so I can see, and my back arm, and then my back leg. And again, I'm just changing the anchor points, and the front leg, because they're independent, they have anchor points, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and put all the bones in and get this character working. So I'm going to do that really quickly. Okay, so we've now got the character for side 2, the body. I've got everything mapped correctly. And what I'm going to do now is click the clap stick here to create a new scene with Alice in it. We're going to make the character a little bit smaller, and you'll notice something crazy happens right away because we have mode immediate for our movement here. But I'm going to change it to walk for our character here, and you can see our character Alice is now in the recording area, and we do have a walk behavior. And I'm going to make the characters smaller so I can actually see them. And what you're going to notice right away, I'm going to put it back on immediate, because as soon as you put arrows on, it disappears. And the reason for that is our rig, you need to have all 3 views on at the same time. Even though they overlap here, when you go back to the record area, by default, the forward looking view will be what we see, and it won't change until we hit the right arrow, in which case we'll now have the walking behavior. And you can kind of see there's some issues associated with the neck area and the head area, which we're going to need to fix. But that's pretty much how the walking works. So I'm going to go ahead, and at least we have the one side walking. Now the other side is not walking at all, and that's because we haven't mapped everything correctly yet. So let's go back to our rig, and let's continue on our side 2. I'm going to turn these guys off just so I'm seeing everything. Now our head is having some problems because up here, this anchor point is actually kind of controlling where the head is moving, the pivoting on. So we kind of want the head to pivot here. So I'm going to just select this as our head group, and then I'm going to select this and just turn this off, and that just becomes our origin. And make sure that the origin here is good. And that's our side group. And then the waist, I'm going to move the waist a little bit back here. Now I've got this neck group here, so I'm going to change the location to be a little bit lower. And now we're going to go to the record, and we're going to see what the side profile looks like. And you can see the head's already looking a little bit better because it's not doing the kind of craziness that happened before. And then from the other side, we're going to have to obviously map that. So what I'm going to do now is move to my side 1, and I'm going to go through very quickly and remap all the elements there, just like we did before. Moving the head position down. I'm just going to remove that group, and we're going to add a new head handle nearer to the neck, and we're just going to call that head and neck, and then this one is just the origin point. Okay, be back in a second. Okay, we're back, and so we have our side views both mapped now. We can see that the body has the waist right above the left and right hip, and it's located on top of the body. I didn't put the hips on the actual legs themselves. I just left these anchor points alone and just kind of left them where they are. So let's take a look at how this is going to work in our recording system here. And I want to make sure, again, all three views are turned on so that when the view is frontal, what we're seeing is the frontal view, and that's just how the walk behavior works. If you're not walking left or right, you're actually just seeing the front view. I'm going to make the scale a little bit smaller so you can kind of see her and see how she works. Obviously our head's a little bit stretchy. We haven't actually rigged the front view, which we need to do, so I can't grab any of these handles yet. But if I go into my left and right, left and then right, you can kind of see the character is walking. I haven't added any bones, which is why everything is a little bit on the left view, especially left walk, it's actually kind of wiggly, and that's because I forgot to add the bones. For the right side, let's see, did I add bones here? Yeah, I added bones, but for the other view I didn't. So this is a little fiddly just because you have to go through this over and over the same thing multiple times. Not the funnest thing in the world, but it's also not impossible. And the important thing is everything is correctly labeled, because otherwise you're going to have something that is just nightmarish when it actually moves, which might be what you want, but I wouldn't want that non-intentionally. So now if I move left, you can see the bones are a little bit more realistic. Now I'm just going to go ahead and keep the walk on immediate so you can kind of see how that looks. And I'm going to reset the pose here and turn off the camera because we don't need it as well. Let me see if I change the face. So I'm turning off the face behavior here because I don't need the face at all to do anything, which is like what was giving me the deformation because of my resetting my pose. So the walk here, you see it has a style walk. We can have different things like slump. And again, this is because of the different locations for the anchor points. So for the head, we might want to bring it up, and the neck, we might want to bring it down, or we might want to just not use slump, strut, those kinds of things. You can change the stride length to make it a little bit less of a stride or more of a stride. You can change how much the arm is bending and the angle at which it bends. And notice that they're all attached by welds here, and we're going to talk about that. We can actually, you'll notice that when the arm angle changes to something really far back, it's like it's been glued in place here, and we can actually change that to a weld as well. And you can unbend the elbows as well. So there's other things you can do here. And then finally, if you want to, I'm going to turn this to just arrow keys again. You can actually have the body speed go to 100, and what that will allow is the character to actually walk off and on stage. So if the character is just walking left or right, that's how you would do it. Now we talked a little bit about body speed being 100. Let's put it back the other way. I think it just walked completely off stage there, really far away, so I have to bring it back. Here it comes. All right, here we are. So I'm just going to make our speed back to 0 so it doesn't go away. Oh, body speed is 100, should be 0, and step speed should be 100. There we go. And the stride length and those things. So you can make this look the way you want it to. If I go in the rig, and I'm going to go to my right side view, which is the view that it's walking in right now. If I select the front arm, you'll notice that it's attached via a weld here, and I can change that to hinge, just so you can see how that looks. And now when we go here, you can kind of see it's hardly noticeable, but when you change your arm angle, you can kind of see that that makes a lot more sense. Do you see how that feels like it's not being welded here or stuck here? It's kind of so this is nice for the arm angle because you can have these things change. And the same with the bend, you can kind of have it change. Now the nice thing about all of this is you can actually slow things down and speed it up using a stopwatch, which will create a keyframe. So for instance, if you were to create a keyframe here and then record Alice walking, this step speed is now available for the walking behavior. And so I'm going to let Alice walk a little bit here. I'm also going to change the arm, the elbow bend, and the arm angle as part of our changes here. So you'll see if I stop the recording, you'll notice that if I'm playing and I'm walking through this, it's at its constant speed of 100, but I can actually change the speed to slow down. And in other words, I'm keyframing how fast she's walking. Then I can have her speed up and then slow down. And these keyframes work just like normal keyframes. You can kind of see how that works just by being over these keyframes, right? And then the same with the elbow. I can actually right here put the elbows like right back here, right? And then have the elbows come forward over time here, and then finish off at the elbows being like this. And then the elbow bend, I can start with no bend, like 0, which doesn't quite work. I'll just put the bend like that. And then here I can have the bend be quite high, and then go back to a bend that's a little less intense at the slower speed. And so if we play this through now, you'll see that the angles and everything are changing because of these keyframes. So the nice part about the walk is that it has all these, and these elements are all keyframeable, so you can slow down, speed up, and export your character in that way. Hopefully this helps a little bit, trying to set up your character to do a little bit of walking. Yep, there you go.